The grand chamber floated in space like a giant crystal ball. Inside, 7 alien races sat in a circle. Their seats rose from the floor on metal platforms. Blue lights glowed from the walls. Translation devices hummed softly, turning alien words into sounds everyone could understand. The chamber doors opened. 4 humans walked inside. They wore simple black suits with Earth's symbol on their chests. The leader was Dae-Jung Kim, a man with gray hair and calm eyes. Behind him walked Captain Taeyang Park, a soldier who moved like a cat. Next came Hanul Lee, a woman with sharp intelligence in her face. Last was Bora Choi, a young woman who studied alien cultures. The aliens watched them enter. Some wore robes made of strange fabrics. Others had armor that seemed to grow from their skin. The humans looked plain next to them, but Dae-Jung walked with his head high. High Chancellor Vornum sat at the center. He looked like a giant lizard walking on 2 legs. His scales were dark green and his eyes were yellow. He was the most powerful being in the Galactic Council. When he spoke, everyone listened. Ambassador Dae-Jung, Vornum said. His voice was deep and cold. You have been called here to answer for humanity's crimes. Dae-Jung said nothing. He simply waited. Your species has expanded too fast, Vornum continued. In just 200 years, you have taken 87 star systems. You build warships without permission. You develop weapons without oversight. This cannot continue, another council member spoke. Rixta looked like a giant insect with blue skin. We have been watching you, she said. Her voice sounded like many people talking at once. Humanity is dangerous. You must be controlled. Vornum held up a data tablet. The council has decided. You will give us 6 star systems in the outer rim. You will destroy 70% of your military ships. You will allow us to watch everything you do. You will expand only when we say you can. The chamber was silent. All eyes turned to Dae-Jung. Bora whispered to Hanul. They're scared. Look at their body language. They fear us, Hanul nodded slightly. She had seen it too. The Great Council was afraid of young humanity. Vornum leaned forward. These terms are not open for discussion. This is not a negotiation. You will comply or we will force you to comply. The Council has authorized military action if necessary. Dae-Jung stood quiet for a long moment. He looked at each council member one by one. Then he spoke. His voice was soft but clear. No. The chamber erupted. Aliens stood up, shouting in their own languages. The translation devices struggled to keep up. Vornum's eyes went wide with shock. What did you say? Vornum demanded. Dae-Jung stepped forward. I said no. We will not give you our colonies. We will not destroy our ships. We will not let you control our future. Earth's answer is no. No species had ever refused the Council before. The Council had existed for 10,000 years. They ruled the galaxy. Their word was law, and now these young humans were saying no. Vornum's scales turned darker. He was angry. Very angry. You dare refuse us? We have the power to destroy your entire species. We could turn Earth into dust. Captain Taeyang shifted his weight. It was a small movement, but Bora saw several aliens notice it. They recognized the stance of a warrior ready for battle. Hanul spoke next. Her voice was ice cold. You could try, but you don't know what we're capable of. You think you know humanity because you've watched us for 2 centuries. You know nothing. You're about to find out. Rixta's many voices spoke together. This is foolishness. We have 2,000 warships. How many do you have? 800? Maybe 900. You cannot win. Dae-Jung smiled. It was not a friendly smile. You're right. We can't win with 800 ships. Good thing we have more than that. Vornum stood up. His full height was impressive, nearly 3 meters tall. You are making a terrible mistake. The Council will crush you. We will make an example of humanity. Other species will learn not to defy us. Then come, Dae-Jung said simply. Send your fleets. Attack our worlds. But know this. Every ship you send, we will destroy. Every soldier you send, we will defeat. And when you finally realize you cannot win, we will still be standing. And then we will talk. On our terms, not yours. The human delegation turned to leave. As they walked toward the door, Bora whispered to Hanul. I saw Rixta make a signal. They're already calling their fleets. Hanul smiled. Good. Admiral Hyun-woo has been waiting for this. Behind them, the council chamber filled with angry voices. Vornum was already giving orders. The council's military was being mobilized. War was coming. Far away in deep space, something waited. Station Valkyrie hung in the darkness between stars. It was huge, bigger than any space station the galaxy had ever seen. Its weapons were powered down. Its sensors were on minimal. It looked like it was sleeping, but it wasn't sleeping. Inside, Admiral Hyun-Woo Kang stood in the command center. He was a tall man with sharp eyes and gray streaks in his black hair. He had been a soldier for 40 years. He had fought in Earth's last wars before humanity went to space. He knew war. He understood it. A message came through on his personal screen. It was from Daejung. Just 2 words. They're coming. Hyun-Woo turned to his second-in-command, Fleet Commander Ji-won Han. She was younger than him, but just as experienced. "Send the signal," he said quietly. Ji-won pressed a button. In the darkness of space, lights began to appear, one by one, then dozens, then hundreds. Ships dropped their stealth fields. They had been hiding in the dark, invisible to sensors. The Council thought humanity had 800 ships. They were wrong. There were 3,000 ships. Battleships, destroyers, carriers, frigates, and more were coming. Humanity had been building in secret for decades. While the Council watched their public shipyards, humans built hidden factories in asteroid belts and on airless moons. "Sir," Ji-won said, "all fleets report ready. Weapons charged. Shields at full power. We're waiting for your orders." Hyun-Woo looked at the tactical display. It showed the Council's fleet movements. They were gathering their forces, preparing to attack the Arcturus system. They thought it would be easy. They thought humanity would break quickly. "Let them come to Arcturus," Hyun-Woo said. "We'll be waiting. And when they arrive, they'll learn what it means to fight humanity." Station Valkyrie's weapons systems came online. Across human space, every military installation went to full alert. Soldiers who had been training for this moment their entire lives prepared for battle. Scientists activated experimental weapons that had never been tested in real combat. Every man and woman in the fleet knew what was at stake. This was not just another war. This was survival. The Council wanted to break humanity, to make them servants. But humans had learned a long time ago on their home planet. You could push them. You could threaten them. You could even hurt them. But you could never make them kneel. The war had begun. The Council flagship Eternal Dominion moved through space like a floating city. It was massive, over 5 kilometers long. Its armor was thick enough to survive a star's heat. Its weapons could destroy planets. Fleet Marshal Thexian stood on the bridge watching the stars. Thexian was old even for his species. He had been a soldier for 300 years. He had fought in wars across the galaxy. He had never lost a battle. Now he was leading 2,400 ships to crush humanity. "Marshal," his tactical officer said, "we will reach Arcturus in 2 hours. Our scouts report only 30 human ships defending the system. Their main fleet must be elsewhere." Thexian nodded. 30 ships against our thousands. They cannot win. This will be over quickly." He looked at his officers. They were all smiling. This would be easy. Far away on Earth, in a command center buried deep underground, Admiral Hyun-Woo watched the enemy approach. Around him, screens showed every detail. The number of enemy ships, their weapons, their speed, everything. "They're confident," Ji-won said. "Look at their formation." "They're not even being careful," Hyun-Woo smiled. It was not a kind smile. "Good, confidence makes people stupid. Are our ships in position?" "Yes, sir. 3,000 ships waiting in dark space, stealth fields at maximum. The enemy can't see them. And Commander Dong-hyun, ready to play his part?" In the Arcturus system, Commander Dong-hyun Shin stood on the bridge of his destroyer, Hammer of Terra. Behind him were 29 other human ships. They looked small and scared. They were supposed to look that way. "Sir, the enemy fleet just dropped out of hyperspace," his sensor officer reported. "They're spreading out, surrounding the planet." Dong-hyun opened a broadcast channel. He made his voice sound worried. "This is Commander Shin to any human forces. We need help. Enemy fleet is too big. Requesting immediate backup." He closed the channel and smiled at his crew. "How was that?" His crew laughed quietly. They all knew the plan. On the Eternal Dominion, Thexian heard the desperate message. "See we," he told his officers. "They're already panicking. Their commanders are calling for help that won't come. This is why young species should not challenge their elders." He gave the order to attack. His fleet moved forward, weapons charging. Massive energy cannons prepared to fire. The human ships looked helpless. Then everything changed. Space itself seemed to tear open. Thousands of ships appeared from nowhere, dropping their stealth fields all at once. They surrounded the Council fleet completely. Where there had been empty space, now there were warships everywhere. Thexian's face went pale. What? How? Where did they come from? Admiral Hyunwoo's voice came over every speaker on every Council ship. You wanted war, Marshal, here it is. Let me teach you something about humanity. We don't fight fair. We fight to win. The human fleet attacked. But they didn't fight like the Council expected. They used strange tactics. Small drone ships flew at enemy vessels and exploded. Not with fire, but with electromagnetic pulses that shut down systems. Missiles moved faster than anything the Council had seen, guided by advanced computers. Commander Sang-Min Kwan led a fighter squadron through the battle. He was one of humanity's best pilots. His ship twisted and turned in ways that made alien pilots dizzy just watching. Behind him, his wingman Yoonji Park targeted enemy cruisers with perfect accuracy. She never missed. 3 more targets locked, Yoonji said calmly. She fired. 3 alien ships exploded as her missiles hit their reactor cores. That's 12 today. I'm going for 15, Sang-Min laughed. Show off, but he was proud of her. They had trained together for years. Now they were proving that human pilots were faster, smarter, and deadlier than any alien pilot. The battleship Indomitable charged straight at a Council dreadnought. Captain Sujin Beck stood calm on her bridge. The dreadnought was 3 times her ship's size. Its shields were supposed to be unbreakable. Fire disruption pulse, she ordered. A wave of energy shot from the Indomitable. It hit the dreadnought's shields and made them flicker. For just 1 second, the shields were down. Now, antimatter torpedoes! 6 torpedoes launched. They hit the dreadnought directly. The explosion was so bright that everyone had to look away. When the light faded, the dreadnought was gone. Just pieces of metal floating in space. Sujin's crew cheered. But she stayed focused. Next target. We're not done yet. Marshal Thexian watched his fleet die. Ships exploded everywhere. His formation was broken. His commanders were calling for orders, but he had none to give. How could he fight an enemy that appeared from nowhere? How could he defeat weapons his shields couldn't stop? Marshal! We've lost half our fleet. We need to retreat. Retreat to where? They're everywhere. It was true. The humans had blocked every escape route. Council ships that tried to flee were destroyed. Ships that surrendered were captured. There was no escape. The battle lasted 4 hours. When it ended, 2,000 Council ships were destroyed or captured. Only 400 escaped. The Council's mighty fleet, which had never been defeated, was broken. The Eternal Dominion was badly damaged, but still alive. Thexian sat in his command chair, staring at nothing. His bridge was dark. Half his crew was dead. He had failed. A screen flickered to life. Admiral Hyunwoo appeared. His face was serious. Marshal Thexian, I'm letting you live for a reason. I want you to go back to your council. Tell them what happened here. Tell them this was us being gentle. Tell them that if they send another fleet, we won't be so kind. Thexian looked at the human admiral. He saw no hate in those eyes. No anger, just cold certainty. This human meant every word. I will deliver your message, Thexian said quietly. Good. Now go. The screen went dark. The Eternal Dominion and the surviving ships began their long journey back to Council space. Every alien on those ships knew the truth now. They had underestimated humanity. They had thought humans were weak. They were wrong. Very wrong. In the Grand Chamber, High Chancellor Vornim received the news. His face showed no emotion, but his hands were shaking. Half his fleet. Gone, destroyed in hours. Rixta spoke with her many voices. We miscalculated. The humans are far more dangerous than we believed. They fight like predators. They plan like generals with centuries of experience. They hide their true strength until the perfect moment to strike. Ambassador Keltharis, a being made of living crystal, spoke carefully. Perhaps we should reconsider our approach. They proved they can destroy our fleets. What if we tried to negotiate? Vornim slammed his fist down. The sound echoed through the chamber. No, I will not negotiate with primitives who dare to challenge the council. If 1 fleet is not enough, we will send 5 fleets. We will mobilize every ship, every weapon, every soldier. Humanity will kneel or humanity will die. The other council members looked at each other. Some nodded in agreement. Others looked worried. Keltharis remained silent, but his crystal body dimmed slightly. This was not going to end well. Vornim stood up. And I have one more order. Bring me the ancient weapons. Bring me the void breakers. The chamber went silent. The void breakers, weapons so powerful, so terrible, that they had been locked away for 10,000 years. Weapons that could destroy entire planets with one shot. The war was not over. It was just beginning, and it was about to get much, much worse. On Earth, people celebrated in the streets. News of the victory at Arcturus spread across all human colonies. They had defeated the mighty Galactic Council. They had proven themselves. But deep underground in Geneva, in the War Operations Center, nobody was celebrating. Admiral Hyun-woo stood before a table of holographic displays. Around him sat Earth's leaders. President Young-ho Lim looked tired. Defense Secretary Mi-sun-oh studied reports with worried eyes. Intelligence Director Jae-hyun-nam was speaking. Our spies inside Council territory have sent warnings. The Council is moving something called void breakers. These are ancient weapons locked away for thousands of years. According to our information, they can destroy entire planets. President Young-ho looked at Admiral Hyun-woo. Can we stop them? Not with normal weapons, Hyun-woo admitted. But we have other options. Mi-sun pressed a button. The holographic display changed, showing designs for weapons that looked impossible. Ships that could fold space. Energy weapons powered by zero-point fields. Machines so small they couldn't be seen but could take apart a ship from the inside. This is Project Prometheus, Mi-sun explained. For 50 years, we've been developing technology far beyond what we showed the galaxy. While the Council watched our public shipyards, we built secret laboratories. We let them think we were using simple weapons. We're not. A screen showed Dr. Sung-ho Park, the lead scientist. He was in a hidden facility somewhere in deep space. We can deploy the new weapons, Mr. President. But there's a risk. We haven't tested everything at full scale, and if the galaxy learns how much technology we've been hiding, they might all unite against us. Another screen showed Ambassador Dae-jung and Ha Newell. They were still at the Council station, watching everything that happened there. Ha Newell spoke. We need to be smart about this. We show enough power to scare them, but not so much that they panic and attack with everything they have. Meanwhile, in the Grand Chamber, High Chancellor Vornim was building his war machine. He had called 12 alien species together. The chamber was packed with representatives from across the galaxy. The human threat must be eliminated, Vornim told them. His voice was cold and certain. They have proven themselves dangerous. They refuse to follow our rules. They destroy our fleets. If we don't stop them now, they will eventually threaten every species in the galaxy. Most of the species agreed. They had heard about Arcturus. They were scared of humanity. They wanted the threat removed, but not everyone agreed. Ambassador Keltharis met secretly with 2 other council members. Councillor Vrax, who looked like a giant fish that walked on land, and Elder Ithrin, a being made of metal and circuits. They met in a small room far from Vornim's eyes. Vornim is leading us to disaster, Keltharis said. His crystal body glowed softly. The humans fight with a strength we haven't seen in thousands of years. They won't surrender even if we destroy Earth. They'll hide and fight forever, Vrax agreed. My intelligence officers have studied human communications. They don't want to conquer us. They just want freedom. Maybe we can negotiate. Ithrin's electronic voice was logical. But Vornim will never negotiate. He has made this personal. He cannot back down without losing his position. Before they could say more, alarms blared. Something had happened at one of the weapons facilities. The room's screen showed fire and explosions. One of the 3 void breakers was destroyed. The destruction was caused by a small team of human soldiers. Commander Kyung-soo-im led them through the facility like ghosts. They moved silently, avoiding sensors and guards. His second, Hee-jin Song, was an expert at alien security systems. She opened doors that were supposed to be impossible to open. The aliens think their security is perfect, Kyung-soo whispered to his team. They've never had to defend against people like us. They're too confident. They reached the void breaker's core. The weapon was massive, filling a room the size of a football field. Kyung-soo's demolitions expert, Jungi Hwang, placed special bombs around it. These weren't normal explosives. They used quantum technology that humans had developed in secret. Charges set, Jungi reported. We have 5 minutes, the team ran. They reached their ship just as the bombs exploded. The void breaker tore itself apart at the atomic level. The facility collapsed. 1/3 of the Council's planet-killing weapons was gone. At the same time, on a neutral space station, A different kind of operation was happening. Human Intelligence Officer Yeon-Woo Cho met with Ambassador Keltharis and his allies. They sat in a dark room where no one could see them. "We don't want to fight you," Yeon-Woo said to them. "We want to live freely. Help us convince the Council to negotiate. In return, we'll share technology that could help all species. Medical advances. New energy sources. We're not your enemies unless you make us your enemies." Keltharis looked at the human woman. She was young, but her eyes were old. She had seen things. She understood the cost of war. "I will try," he promised. "But I cannot guarantee success. Vornum is beyond reason." When Vornum learned that one void breaker was destroyed, he lost control. He screamed at his guards. He threw things. His scales turned almost black with rage. How did they penetrate our security? How did they find the facility? How did they escape? Nobody had answers. The humans had done the impossible. Vornum made a terrible decision. He ordered the use of biological weapons. Engineered diseases would be released into human colonies, plagues that would kill millions. But humanity was ready for this too. Dr. Ji-Hai-An was Earth's best xenobiologist. She had studied alien diseases for decades. When the plagues arrived, she already had countermeasures ready. The diseases were stopped within days. More than that, Ji-Hai's team reverse-engineered the plagues. They created vaccines not just for humans, but for other species too. Some alien colonies that the Council had forgotten about received these vaccines. The humans were saving lives while the Council tried to take them. Vornum decided it was time for the final attack. He gathered 5,000 warships, the largest fleet ever assembled. Every species in the Council contributed ships. This armada would go to Earth. They would destroy humanity's homeworld. This would end the war. The fleet entered human space, thousands of ships moving together like a metal storm. They expected resistance. They expected battles. What they got was something completely different. As the fleet moved deeper into human territory, something strange happened. Sensors started showing impossible readings. Space itself seemed wrong. Navigation systems couldn't figure out where they were. Admiral Hyun-Woo watched from Station Valkyrie. Beside him, Commander Ji-Won monitored the quantum displacement field. It was working perfectly. Dr. Seung-Ho's team had done it. They had built a device that could fold space itself. "Activate the field," Hyun-Woo ordered. Space twisted. The Council fleet, all 5,000 ships, suddenly found themselves scattered. They had been teleported across 30 different star systems. Groups of ships were separated, isolated, alone. And in each system, human ships waited. In the Centauri system, Fleet Captain Min Seo Jang commanded human forces that used new nanotech weapons. Tiny machines invisible to the eye flew into enemy ships. They didn't destroy. They just turned things off. Engines stopped. Weapons failed. Life support continued, but nothing else worked. In the Vega system, Commander Taijin Ryu used zero-point energy weapons. These devices drained all power from enemy ships instantly. The alien vessels just floated dead in space, crews alive but helpless. In system after system, the same thing happened. Human forces disabled enemy ships without destroying them. No killing unless necessary. Just complete total defeat. Within 6 hours, the entire Council fleet was neutralized. 5,000 ships, tens of thousands of crew, all defeated, and human casualties were almost zero. In the Grand Chamber, Vornum watched the reports come in. His face was gray. His hands shook. He had sent everything, and humanity had scattered it like dust. Rixta spoke, her many voices quiet. "We cannot win. They have technology we cannot match. They scattered our fleet across space itself. This should not be possible." Keltharis stood. "Then we must negotiate. We have no choice." But Vornum's pride would not let him surrender. "No, we still have 2 void breakers. We will use them on Earth and their largest colony. We will force them to surrender or watch their worlds burn." Half the Council supported him. The other half demanded negotiation. The chamber filled with shouting. The Galactic Council was breaking apart, and in that moment of chaos, Vornum gave the order. The void breakers would fire in 2 hours. Earth and New Terra would be destroyed. The war had reached its most dangerous moment. Billions of lives hung in the balance, and time was running out. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility that didn't exist on any map, Woo Jin-yoon worked at a bank of computers. Around him, 3 other people typed frantically: Seyoung-ko, Byung-hun-yu, and Ga-yun-shin. They were Earth's best hackers. Now they had less than 2 hours to do the impossible. The void breakers were aimed at Earth and New Terra. 14 billion people would die if the weapons fired. The only hope was to hack into alien systems built by civilizations thousands of years older than humanity. The systems use quantum encryption, Si Young explained, her fingers moving across holographic keyboards. 17 layers of security. Each layer is designed to detect intruders. If we trigger an alarm, the weapons fire immediately. Wu Jin split up the work. Byung-hun, you make us look like council commanders. Ka-yun, find the shutdown switches. Se-young, stop their security from seeing us. I'll handle the quantum layers. At the neutral station where peace talks had been happening, Ambassador Dai Jung was trying a different approach. He opened communication channels to every moderate council member. His message was simple and direct. High Chancellor Vornum is about to murder 14 billion innocent people. He's doing this without your approval. This is not policy. This is madness. Stop him now. Or when humanity responds, we won't distinguish between those who supported him and those who didn't. Hanul sent messages directly to military commanders in the council fleets. She broadcast on open channels so everyone could hear. Your leader is targeting civilians, women, children, families. You have a choice. Follow illegal orders or stand with honor. What will you choose? In the Grand Chamber, fighting had started. Not with weapons, but with words and pushing. The council was tearing itself apart. Keltharis confronted Vornim directly. You have no authority to do this. The council voted against targeting civilian populations. This is murder. Vornim was beyond reason. His eyes were wild. I am High Chancellor. I decide what is necessary. The humans have humiliated us. They must be destroyed. A vote was called. 6 members voted to remove Vornim from power. 5 voted to support him. 2 didn't vote. But Vornim refused to accept it. I don't recognize this vote. Guards, arrest these traitors. The guards looked confused. Half moved to arrest Keltharis. Half moved to arrest Vornim. The Grand Chamber descended into chaos. For the first time in 5,000 years, the council was at war with itself. Time was running out. 1 hour and 15 minutes until the weapons fired. In the hacking facility, Ga-un made a discovery. I found something! The weapons have a manual override. If someone is physically at the control stations, they can shut them down. But that means we need people at both void breakers. Wu Jin immediately sent a message to Admiral Hyunwoo. We need strike teams at both weapon stations now. Hyunwoo had already prepared for this. 2 teams were flying through space at maximum speed. Commander Kyung-soo led Team Alpha toward Void Breaker 1. Captain Yoo-jin Lee led Team Beta toward Void Breaker 2. Both stations were heavily defended. Massive shields, automated weapons, dozens of guards. The stations were designed to survive attacks from entire fleets. But the human teams weren't coming with fleets. They used experimental technology, personal cloaking fields that bent light around them, quantum phase shifters that let them pass through walls for a few seconds. Technology so new that most humans had never seen it. Kyung-soo's team reached Void Breaker 1. They phased through the outer hull and appeared inside. Alarms immediately started screaming. The station security had detected them. Move fast, Kyung-soo ordered. His team ran through corridors fighting automated defenses. His demolitions expert Joon-gi placed charges at key points. If we can't shut it down remotely, we blow it up physically. Team Beta had even more trouble. Yoo-jin's team ran into actual guards at Void Breaker 2. Council Special Forces had been stationed there. The combat was fierce and close. Yoo-jin's tactical officer, Sung Woo-jo, was shot but kept fighting. He managed to hack local controls, buying them precious seconds, 32 minutes remaining. In the underwater facility, Woo-jin's team was making progress. They had broken through 14 of 17 security layers, but the last 3 were the hardest. Each one was more complex than the last. Si Young found a weakness. The security systems weren't designed for AI attacks. The aliens don't use artificial intelligence like we do. Their systems expect organic hackers. Wu Jin unleashed 3 AI systems at once. They worked together, trying billions of combinations per second. The alien security couldn't keep up. Layers 16 and 17 cracked open. We're in. Shutting down Void Breaker 1 now. On the station, Kyung-soo felt the weapon power down. The humming stopped. The lights dimmed. It's offline. Earth is safe. But Void Breaker 2 was still active. And it was aimed at New Terra, 8 billion people, 15 minutes remaining. Yoo-jin's team reached the control center. She was bleeding from a cut on her face. Half her team was injured, but they had made it. She opened a direct link to Wu Jin. I'm at the local controls. Tell me what to do. Connect your device to port 7. I'm patching in our AI. Wu Jin plugged in the connection. Data flowed between Earth's computers and the alien weapon. Wu Jin and his team worked faster than they ever had before. The final security layer was different from the others. It had been added personally by Vornum. It was newer, stranger, harder. 8 minutes remaining. Byung-hun found a pattern. It's using biological encryption. It requires Vornum's own genetic signature to change settings. We can't fake that. But Gaon had another idea. We don't need to fake it. We need to convince the system that Vornum himself is giving the shutdown order. Wu Jin, can you access the local biometric scanners? Yes, I'm at the main console. Good, I'm sending you a program. It will modify the scanner's memory to think Vornum was there an hour ago and ordered a delayed shutdown. The system will think it's following his orders. 4 minutes remaining. Wu Jin ran the program. The weapon systems hesitated, checked, verified, accepted. The humming stopped. The lights dimmed. Voidbreaker 2 powered down, weapon offline, Wu Jin shouted. New Terra is safe. In the underwater facility, everyone went quiet for a moment. Then they cheered. They had done it. With 4 minutes and 13 seconds to spare, they had saved 14 billion lives. On Earth, news spread instantly. People poured into the streets crying with relief. They had been so close to extinction. Now they were safe. President Young-ho addressed the world. Today we faced annihilation. Today we survived, not through violence but through intelligence. Through courage, through the efforts of people who refused to give up. We owe them everything. In the Grand Chamber, Keltaris's forces finally subdued Vornum. The former High Chancellor was screaming about traitors and human devils. Nobody was listening anymore. He had lost. Keltaris stood in the center of the chamber. His crystal body glowed bright. The war must end? We have lost. But more importantly, we were wrong to start this. The humans defended themselves. We were the aggressors. Most of the council members nodded. They had seen enough. The war had cost them thousands of ships and tens of thousands of lives. And for what? To try to control a species that only wanted freedom. Keltaris sent a message to Ambassador Daejung. We need to talk, all of us in peace, but there's something you need to know. Something worse than our war. Something is coming. Admiral Hyunwoo received a report from Deep Space Reconnaissance. A massive fleet had been detected entering the galaxy. Ships unlike anything humans or Council had ever seen. They were coming from dark space, from the void between galaxies. Sir, the reconnaissance officer said, her voice shaking. The ships, they're enormous. Each one is the size of a moon. And there are hundreds of them. They're headed toward Council space. Toward us, Hyunwoo studied the data. His face went pale.
Get me President Young-ho.
Get me Ambassador Daejung. Get me everyone. We have a bigger problem now. The war between humanity and the Council was over, but something ancient, something terrible had noticed their conflict. The noise of their battles had echoed across the galaxy, and something had heard something was coming. And if humanity and the Council didn't stand together, they would all fall. The emergency summit happened on Station Horizon, a neutral trading post far from both human and Council territories. The station's main hall was packed. For the first time, humans and Council members sat at the same table, not as enemies but as people facing a common threat. President Young-ho sat beside Admiral Hyunwoo. Across from them were Ambassador Keltaris, Councillor Rixta, and other Council leaders. The tension in the room was thick. Just days ago, they had been trying to destroy each other. Now they needed to work together. Keltaris spoke first. His crystal body seemed dimmer than usual. We need to be honest with each other. These beings are called the Precursors. They built this galaxy's civilization 10 million years ago. They created the hyperspace lanes we all use. They set the rules for how space travel works. Then they went to sleep, watching to see how younger species would develop. Ambassador Daejung leaned forward. And now they're awake, why? Rixta answered, her many voices sounding worried. Our war woke them. The quantum weapons humanity used, combined with our void breakers, created distortions in space-time. We made so much noise that being sleeping for millions of years hurt us. Intelligence Director Jae-hyun had studied all the data. The Precursors left behind one law. They told the first council members that there must never be large galactic wars. Everyone thought it was about keeping peace, but really it was about not waking them up. We broke that law. A hologram appeared in the center of the table. It showed a precursor ship. The thing was massive, bigger than Earth's largest cities. Its hull seemed alive, pulsing with dark energy, and there were 300 of these ships. Dr. Sung-ho's voice came through a speaker. He was analyzing the ships from a safe distance. Their technology is beyond anything we can understand. They're bending space-time just by existing. The energy readings are impossible. One of these ships could probably destroy our entire fleet. Then the precursors sent a message. It came in a language that everyone understood instantly. No translation needed. The message appeared in everyone's mind. You are judged unworthy. Younger species have proven they cannot be trusted with advanced technology. You will be reduced to primitive states. You will start over, slowly, with our guidance. The room went silent. Everyone understood what this meant. The precursors would destroy all their technology. Billions would die when life support systems failed. Colonies in space would be stranded. Thousands of years of progress would be erased. President Young-ho stood up. No, we refuse. The council members looked at him in shock. Keltharis spoke carefully. President, these beings are millions of years old. They have technology we can't even imagine. How can we refuse? The same way we refused the council's ultimatum, Young-ho said. We have a right to exist. We have a right to make our own choices, even if we make mistakes. No one, not even ancient gods, has the right to take that from us. Keltharis was quiet for a moment. Then he stood too. For once I agree with the human. We may have been foolish, but we're not children. We're living civilizations. If the precursors want to judge us, let them face us first. One by one, the other council members stood, even those who had supported Vornum. The war between humans and the council was over. Now they had a common enemy. What followed was something nobody expected. Human engineers worked beside alien scientists. Admiral Hyunwoo and Fleet Marshal Thexian planned strategy together. Species that had been enemies days ago now shared their most secret technology. Hanul led a team to study precursor communications. Bora helped analyze their behavior patterns. They discovered something important. The precursors were not all in agreement. There were factions. Some truly believed younger species were dangerous. Others questioned whether destroying civilizations was right. Defense Secretary Mi-sun developed a plan. We can't beat them with weapons, but maybe we can convince them. We need to show them that we've learned from our mistakes, that we can cooperate, that we deserve to continue existing. A combined fleet was assembled, human ships and council vessels flying together. They approached the precursor position with weapons powered down. No aggressive moves. Instead, they broadcast a message. Ambassador Dae-jung spoke for everyone. We acknowledge our mistakes. Humanity expanded too aggressively. The council tried to control us too harshly. We fought a war that should never have happened. But we stopped. We chose peace. We're standing here together. Former enemies working as allies. Doesn't this prove we can learn? Doesn't this show we deserve a chance? The precursors responded. Beings of pure energy appeared in space. They were beautiful and terrible at the same time. One spoke with a voice that seemed to come from everywhere. You stopped your war because we appeared. This is survival instinct, not wisdom. Admiral Hyunwoo answered. No, we could have kept fighting even while you watched. The Council could have attacked humanity when we were distracted. Humanity could have struck at the Council while they were weak. We chose not to. That is wisdom. A different precursor spoke. This one seemed younger, more curious. What proof do we have this cooperation will last? What stops you from fighting again when we leave? Keltharis stepped forward. We offer to destroy the Void Breakers permanently. We'll share the technology with all species so it can never be built again. We propose a new galactic charter. Every civilization gets equal rights. No more hierarchy. No more elder races ruling younger ones. President Young-ho added humanity's promise. We'll limit how fast we expand. We'll participate in joint research with other species. We'll submit disputes to neutral arbitration, not because you force us, but because we choose cooperation. The precursors were silent for a long time. Hours passed. The combined fleet waited, unsure if they would live or die. Finally, the precursors spoke again. You have shown potential. We will not destroy what you have built, but we established conditions. The conditions were strict. No planet-destroying weapons, limits on space-time manipulation technology, mandatory arbitration for conflicts between species, and a joint council where all civilizations had equal power. Humanity would have the same voice as species thousands of years older. Most important, the precursors would stay. Not to rule, but to watch. We made a mistake leaving you completely alone. But we also made a mistake thinking we should control everything. We will observe. We will offer advice if asked. But you will choose your own path. Everyone agreed. They had no choice, but more than that, the terms were fair. The galaxy would be different now. Better, hopefully. 6 months later, the new Galactic Assembly met for the first time. Representatives from 15 species gathered. More were joining every day. The old hierarchical council was gone. Now everyone was equal. Keltharis was elected as the first speaker. We gather not as masters and servants, but as equals. Each species has unique strengths. Each has value. We will disagree, but we'll resolve those disagreements with words, not weapons. Ambassador Daejung and Hanul represented humanity. In his first speech, Daejung spoke from the heart. We were the newcomers who refused to kneel. Maybe we were too aggressive, but we also brought new energy, new ideas, new possibilities. Working together, we're stronger than we ever were apart. The first joint project was announced. Station Unity would be built using technology from humans, council species, and even precursors. It would research medicine, physics, and ways for different species to live together. Dr. Sung Ho would lead the science team, working with alien researchers who once thought humans were primitive. On Earth, 1 year after the war ended, President Young Ho addressed a massive crowd. A year ago, we faced extinction. We were at war with the galaxy's most powerful alliance. Today, we're partners in building something better. We didn't win by being the strongest. We won by refusing to surrender, then by choosing cooperation over continued conflict. Above Earth, Station Valkyrie had been repurposed. It was no longer just a military base. Now it was headquarters for the Joint Defense Initiative. Human and alien personnel worked together. Admiral Hyunwoo and Fleet Marshal Thexian, once enemies, now planned mutual defense strategies. Commander Ji-won stood beside Hyunwoo, watching Earth below. Do you think it will last? This peace? Hyunwoo thought about it. Nothing lasts forever. There will be problems, arguments, maybe even small conflicts, but we've proven something important. We can work together when we need to. That knowledge is powerful. Across the galaxy, change was happening. Human colonists and alien settlers built mixed communities on frontier worlds. Children of different species played together, learning each other's languages. Scientists shared discoveries that benefited everyone. Dr. Ji-hai worked with alien doctors on medical research. Together, they developed treatments that worked for multiple species. Breakthroughs that would have taken decades alone happened in months. And in deep space, human ships and alien vessels explored together. Captain Taeyang commanded a mixed crew, humans and aliens working side by side. They discovered new worlds that no one had seen before. On Station Unity, Ambassador Daejung and Ambassador Keltharis stood looking at the galaxy through a massive window. Keltharis's crystal form glowed softly. You humans are remarkable. You came to the galaxy young and aggressive. In just centuries, you changed everything. Daejung smiled.